Hey there, so many of you don't know this fact that I'm actually a natural landscape gardener, and that's, by profession. And often I go into people's gardens and I often find these kind of sloppy messes of compost heaps, and it's usually because people just dump a load of grass clippings there. So in this video what we're going to do, we're going to have a look at how to basically sort it out. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the whole pile, because I want to be able to really go through it thoroughly. I need to basically move it over to maybe around here, and then I'm going to add some sticks and green leaves. I'll talk a little bit more about why that's important. So let's maybe start digging away. And look at that green stuff, it's all mushy gunk. It reminds me actually of cow manure. It's almost maybe fermented. Lovely. It smells bad as well, which shows that there's no air in it, because all the anaerobic bacteria are kind of growing inside of it, which is usually not a good thing for compost heaps. There's a few worms in there, which is a good sign. Now, in a lot of books you will read add brown and green materials, and it's a very, very simplified way of looking at the kind of whole carbon to nitrogen ratios. And there's basically a lot of charts on the internet where you can just look up the different ratios of different materials. So I'm going to now add different materials to my compost pile. Now, the first thing what we need to talk about really is the carbon to nitrogen ratio. Try to adhere to it, because if you have too much nitrogen in it, it's going to turn into that sloppy mess that I have there. And if you have too much carbon, it might not decompose down well enough. Now the way to kind of calculate that ratio is by basically knowing the ratio on each material. So say grass clippings has 20:1 and straw has an 80:1 ratio, so that's carbon to nitrogen ratio. Now by adding those two figures together you get 100:2, and then all you have to do is split that and you get a 50:1 in your overall compost pile. That's if you're using two of the same amount of materials, two of the same quantities of material. So 50:1 is way too high, so you would add a bit more, maybe a touch more of grass clippings to bring it down to 25:1, maybe to 30:1. That's kind of the optimum, but even still 50:1 is still adequate. So the sticks are the carbon, and you don't have to, you don't have to kind of go mad and really calculate it by weight and so on, but just roughly, so that you get the right kind of ratio. And of course different materials have different kind of carbon to nitrogen ratio, blood being very high and fish and bone meal being very high in nitrogen, things like bark mulch being very high in carbon. So it's kind of just getting the rough mixtures together to get a good compost heap. Now that's number one. The next layer I'm going to add is some grass clippings. Now the next step is to just get any kind of branches. I mean, if you have grass and hedges, it's ideal. This just allows some air to get into your compost pile, and that allows for aerobic bacteria to take over and not those anaerobic ones that are going to turn it really smelly. Now add another layer of grass clippings, or this kind of sloppy stuff can go on next. and that's full of nitrogen, and that's going to help decompose all the branches that we just thrown on. And what you want to achieve is kind of layers of maybe 5 to 10 centimeters thick. Now next comes a layer of leaves. Now remember, there's more carbon in leaves than there is in grass clippings, and slightly more in straw. But to be honest, I don't really worry about it. I just put on another layer, maybe 5 centimeters thick. And the main thing is that you want your heap to get really nice and high, and that's going to turn it into a hot heap, because the higher your heap, the hotter it's going to get. So add some more leaves. I'll get some more. Now we're back to adding some branches, and again that's just for allowing some air to get in. Another good thing as well is for earthworms is to add a layer later on the pile, maybe much higher up, a layer of actually topsoil, and the worms really like it, because they need kind of maybe like a small stones to actually break up the food. They have like a crop like chickens have. So I found it works really a lot better if you add this soil layer to your compost pile. You get millions of worms that way. So that's it. You just add another layer of the sloppy mix, and you just keep going like that until you get to the very top. And that's all there really is to making lovely compost. So the pile is finished now in the background. Now that's going to take maybe up to 6 months to really decompose down. Now make sure to turn it every few days, even. I know I said maybe once a month. And once a month is okay as well, but turn it every few days for optimum compost. Make sure that the temperature basically doesn't go above 60 degrees. That's to do with the bacteria in the compost pile. This then will cool it down as you turn it. If there's any dry bits, add a bit of water to it. There shouldn't be, because there's plenty of sloppy kind of stuff there anyway. Now another thing, this compost is very good for using in sowing in seed trays. Make sure to only use it when there's actually nothing recognizable, you know, kind of leaves or bits of wood that is really decomposed down. That could take maybe a year and a half. And make sure to add a bit of sand to it, because it'll be fairly rich as well. Now I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think. Let me think what you know. That works too. And please like up the page. Helps me a lot. Thanks a million. Bye.